Oh, what a beautiful morning. Here bright and early, because the early bird gets the... Oh, God. Termites? The hell is this? Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Oh, we're gonna need to have a talk.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Oh, hey, what's up, Doug? You ready
Not
for today's
much.
episode?
Yeah, but first there's something I'd like to talk to you about.
Yeah, what's up?
Who taught you how to do this?
You! I learned it by watching! This...
Seriously, Matt. Or should I say, Guy Thornton? Or is it Agent 8675309? I mean, did you get that on the bathroom wall?
No, man, 007 was already taken. Don't go there. I guess that means that today is gonna be the spy episode. Hello?
So this is how it's going to be now. Wonderful.
Yep.
Well, folks, I don't really know what to say. Except welcome back to I'd Lather Be Shaving. We're still I'd Lather Be Shaving, right?
That's right.
I'm Douglas Smythe from PhoenixShaving.com, and to my... I don't even know who is to my left anymore. Who are you?
Agent 8675309.
Right. Today we are going to be doing everything spy tech, but not really everything spy tech, but a few elements in the shaving world that we, or at least I, think are spy related, if not tested.
We'll be talking about razors that help you to stay prepped in the field, ready to shave with all the self-contained self-sufficient items you need to get a great shave.
of yesteryear and yore, and we'd like to see a return to that. So what we've put together here, me and my good friend Matt, some goodies from the past. We have the Rolls razor, which I think is very spy tech if you look at this. Very self-contained, very spy tech, and we're going to delve into this in a second. We also have the Valet Autostrop.
That's right.
We have a new old stock one that we have yet to open.
You'll be opening it for the first time on camera.
First time on camera, folks. And we have some solid colognes too, which we also think are very, something you can hide and get away with. And we're just going to begin this with the rolls.
Let's dive right into
rolls,
rolls.
People. Okay.
Tell me about the rolls, Doug.
Well, the rolls. The rolls is a very, very, very interesting razor. This is one from my collection. And the thing is, in preparation for this episode, I thought that I would test it before we got here, and in doing so, I managed to leave pieces of it behind. So we're not going to get the full-on view of a rolls, but we are going to get a partial. This, my friends, is from, again, around 1916. 1917 was the first use of the Rolls razor. And the Rolls razor it's a self-contained... You want to get into it, Matt?
It is a self-contained razor that was made in England, and if you look at the case itself, it's actually part of the whole equation. You need all of this. So there's two different halves of the case. It's like a clamshell. Yeah, there's a sharpening hone or stone, and there's also a strop that's on this side. There's a little piece of, probably horse hide that's going to go on the opposite side. And interestingly, your blade sits here, and it just twists on and twists off. And the one missing part that Douglas was talking about is the handle. The handle would usually screw on here and hang in the middle. And then this is the really neat part, is that the case is geared so that as you move it, it's moving in the opposite direction, the blade. So we can see it now.
It'll flip and flop the blade as you would if you were stropping your own straight.
So this looks ridiculous. I mean, this alone is like a spy weapon. We can shave you or cut you on the fly over here.
That might confuse people.
I know, but it's part of the spy. Okay, so if we add back in the other parts, and these are actually keyed. you'll see one part has a small tooth and one part has a big tooth, so you can't get it wrong.
I should also mention this went to market, though created around 1916, went to market around 1927, so late 20s.
So once we put the stone back in here, you're going to notice it's pushing the blade edge into the stone. It's going to flip it and push the blade edge in again. Now the opposite is going to happen on the the strop. It's going to actually go backwards. So we're going to put this back in without chopping my finger off. And big.
So it's really a well thought out design.
Very well thought.
So shocked that we're not still using something very similar to this.
This way, it's actually dragging the blade backwards. Oh. So I hope you guys can get that a close up.
Now, between these components, you can't confuse it, right? Because of the...
They're unidirectional.
They're unidirectional.
And so you have your stropping and your sharpening on the stone. Both functions are performed just by the mechanism alone. I think that there's never been a razor like this ever again, and there never will be.
No, I mean, granted, there were some like copycats. You know, wherever there's McDonald's, there's a Burger King usually across the street, and I think Darwin Razors was
Darwin did a
Burger King
stropping
in this
kind of
case.
thing. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And those were a little bit different, though. I think theirs was thinner.
Yes,
and longer.
And longer.
Yeah,
correct.
So 1927, this was sold throughout the into the 1950s. So they had a really good run.
Yeah,
Rolls Razor.
So this is the most common model. This is the Imperial, and these are chrome plated. They have the Greek key design, or as some people call it, the meandering design.
It's a meandering pattern. When I was doing research for this one, I kept reading Greek key design. I'm like, what do they mean by Greek key? And I look at it and I'm like, oh, in art history we call that a meandering pattern. That's right, I took art history. But yeah, it's a meandering pattern.
And the last thing you notice is the serial number is over here on the side, so you can actually look that and that's
get the age of your
age of your rolls
kit. And they came in gold, silver.
That was the Viscount.
Nickel.
That's it.
So silver, nickel, chrome, and gold.
Chrome, silver, gold. There's no nickel. There's no nickel.
There's no nickel.
Only Zool.
Anyways, just like the old times before you were London.
What?
Squeeze me? Oh no, you did.
Baby, London is where this is out of. However, the blades coming out of Sheffield, as blades typically did back in those days, known for its steel.
City of Blades.
But rolls, okay, so, I mean, what's it worth, Matt?
These can be found quite common. In fact, usually when I go out antiquing, I always find one of these. I would say you shouldn't really pay more than $15 to $25 at an antique store.
For the world's best safety?
I know. If they're all cleaned up, restored, the blades actually sharpened and ready to shave with, we sell them for $55, $65. So a little bit more if they're ready to go, but in found condition, a lot lower, about a third of that.
It's kind of disappointing because, I mean, when you hold this, it's hefty and
it's a brick.
Like, it really is. And this one has a great little display case. Yep. Originally, they came in the cardboard hinged ones, and it had the little slogan back then was "World's Best Safety," which always threw me off. You want to finish the sentence, "Safety razor," but it's
right.
So Matt and I were talking about this earlier, and we think that people referred to straights and safeties back then. That's how they talked about it. And so
we still kind of do today.
We do kind of. I say safety razor. I finished the sentence.
Right.
This one actually also came with some strop dressing that you could use on the strop. I've never seen one of these before, but it came with this model, and I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. I just haven't yet to see it.
So the next razor. Before we go to the next razor, what ended up happening to rolls? Where'd they go after razors?
You know, oddly enough, the company was sold, I think, at the end of the 50s, and they started focusing on washing machines. The new owner, Mr. Bloom. Oddly enough. Yeah, I think it's Jonathan Bloom.
It's an agent friend of mine.
Yeah, Dr. Bloom. He ended up buying the company, entrepreneur, and sunk more of his time and energy into the washing machine business as opposed to the Rolls Razor business.
They're both mechanical devices.
Yeah, and he did really well for us. He was underpricing everyone else in England with washing machines, but it came back to bite him in the butt, and they tanked, I think, maybe 10 years later. It's just or 20 years later. He pretty much killed the Rolls company with his little washing machine venture.
Right.
Yeah.
So next up on a kind of mechanical, cool, self-contained razor, we're going to talk about is the Autostrop. So you guys may see these out in the wild. They come in these little tin cans, and they're always going to have these little weird gears on the side.
Super cool.
And you always wonder, what is this for exactly? And the Valet Autostrop company has a very checkered past that keeps on corresponding and intersecting with Gillette. So they got started around the same time, actually a couple months before Gillette did, 1904, with the first patent being issued for this design. And the whole idea was that you could actually strop this blade and maintain it. And that's what you see on the pictures on the little instruction booklet here. Well, we will break open a new old stock
New
Valet
old stock, ladies and gentlemen.
just for you guys.
We've done this before too, haven't we?
I like doing this, ruining history. So I mean, talk
Part
about
of history. We're
got the little cardboard, and we've got a see a little picture here shows the strop being fed through the head. And
it looks like this.
And going back and forth. So the whole idea was that you can maintain the edge. Yeah, here's a new old stock example. This has a rhodium finish on it, which actually has kind of tarnished over time. It's kind of crazy.
Can I see that?
Sure. But rather than feed the perfect strop through here and really ruin it, I'm going to demonstrate with this Wilkinson sword. This is another brand that had a self-contained razor model, the Wilkinson sword blade. So Doug, if you could hold that for a moment. So you'll see that the stropper does the same kind of principle as the Rolls razor where it flips the blade back and forth. And this is just a kind of a visual example for you guys. But Howard Gazeman himself, Henry Gazeman, I want to just touch upon him just for a moment because
Hank.
What an amazing guy. This guy had over 1,000 patents. He was a bachelor through almost his entire life.
Smart.
Into his 60s. Yeah.
Good for him.
He invented things like the carburetor, the swivel chair, the men's belt, and also...
Wait, he invented the men's belt? Who can lay claim to that?
The mechanism.
Oh, right.
And also, one of those biggest inventions ever he sold to Kodak Eastman Kodak, was the autochromatic date. So the little thing in the bottom of the corner that has a date, that's Henry Gazeman. And he sold that
Like a timestamp.
Yeah, the timestamp for $300,000 in 1917.
That's like $1 billion today, man.
Like 7.7 million.
Oh, whatever.
He went on later to basically compete with Gillette and came up with the idea of the cutouts you see in the blades today. He came out with that in the 1920s. He got it patented. It wasn't issued to 1927, and it ended up causing a big feud between Gillette and Probac. And
Let's call it payback.
More or less, it resulted in the two companies deciding to merge over the argument. But when they did the accounting on it, they figured out that Gillette was cooking their books, and Henry Gazeman actually became the board of directors of Gillette. So if you didn't already know...
Which they probably did, because we did mention this in season 1.
We did, but not everyone watches every episode.
It's true.
But what an amazing inventor. I mean, who can say when they die that they had 1,000 patents to their name?
Thomas Edison can.
Okay. So that is one of the coolest self-contained razors, the Valet Autostrop. The Rolls, Wilkinson sword.
I love these two. These editions have, I think they were newspapers, Orange Daily News. So
Yeah.
these are special gifts to the employees of this newspaper. Autostrops, who would have thought to give them as a gift? But I guess
Right.
they were popular. I mean, these really were popular razors back in the day. They were doing really well for a long while.
Yeah, Gillette was really had a lot of competition in the 20s and 30s, 40s. People don't think about it today. They're such a big behemoth and big giant, but they were really having to struggle to keep up with all these
Well,
other
their
competitors.
slogans, what was their slogan about their razors versus these razors?
No stropping, no honing.
Yeah, so they were really trying to frame these in a negative light, self-stropping razors, which I think are some of the coolest razors out there. And if you don't have any in your collection, you need some. Moving on. The next spy tech element for your shave kit, I think, is, well, this is going to sound weird, because for a long while I thought these were for only hippies and little girls. Solid colognes, my friends. I know, solid cologne. It's truly something amazing and something subtle. And these jars right here, these are actually Phoenix shaving ones, but you can get them smaller too. We actually sell travel jars, so you can really tuck them away and hide them. But they're not what you think. They really are something special. You can use them very subtly without anyone knowing what you're doing. See that? That was subtle, wasn't it? Not maybe subtle with the cameras and whatnot, but it really is something you can apply without anyone knowing what you're doing. And this is more of an intimate thing rather than an aftershave or a cologne.
Wasn't the origins of this, Doug, back in the Middle Ages?
Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!
And people would walk down the streets that were full of putrid smells of flatulence and poop and pee.
No!
They want to have
Oh,
the
yes.
smell of cologne on a locket or chain or necklace near them so they could smell better.
Someone read his notes. Anyways, folks, it actually goes back further. It goes back to Egypt.
Wow.
Where they were known, but we're jumping a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Solid colognes, folks. First and foremost, it's different than an aftershave, it's different than a cologne, it's different than an EDP because you're getting the full-on scent, the scent that the perfumer intended, meaning a complete scent profile. In aftershaves, perfumes, stuff that burns off quick, you have a top note, a mid note, and a base note. In solid colognes, you don't have to worry about that. Granted, they're still there.
But all three.
All three at the same time. It's coming at you at the same time. Due to the matrix, the wax matrix, then it's not going to burn off the top fast.
I thought the Matrix was something that... Okay, sorry.
It's not going to burn off as it would in an alcohol-based matrix, like aftershaves, colognes, perfumes. Being wax, it's going to last longer, so you're going to have the full scent profile throughout the entire day. In fact, I dare you to find a solid cologne where the top note disappears quickly or at all.
Yeah, this is some great lip balm.
So yes, the volatile top notes stick around where you don't have that with aftershave. So again, subtly you apply it to the hot spots behind the ears, neck, elbows, inside the elbows, heart, and throughout the course
Let
of the
me apply
day.
to your elbows.
This is weird. I like the old Matt better.
go with it.
Anyways, so that's why I like solid colognes. You can keep in your suitcase, your briefcase, whatever, your bag. Don't leave it in your car, however, at least not in the summertime. If you do, make sure the lid's on tight because it probably will melt. But excellent stuff. I highly recommend it. We're going back to Egypt now. Egypt, solid colognes is, I mean, that's what it was all about. They had what we called
Pharaohs.
unguents or unguent, depending where you're from. And that was a ball of animal fat that was perfumed that they put on their head and allowed it to melt throughout the course of the day, dripping down them, anointing them.
That's how I spend my Saturdays.
It was really weird, I think. But at the same time, it's kind of a cool concept. So rather than sweating during the course of the day, which they still were, they're now anointing themselves in this animal-scented... Do you want to take that? Was that your shoe?
Oh, sorry, that's my spy phone.
So what I'm saying is, folks, I wrote these off when I first started solid colognes. You shouldn't. Learn from my mistakes and definitely check them out. They are just a whole different animal, very subtle, very spy tech. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and subscribe below.
That's right. Be sure to share it with your friends, other spies out there in the world, and pick up one of these amazing razors to add to your collection. If you haven't tried some of these self-contained razors, they're pretty cool.
They really, really are. I highly recommend them. And if you, again, like, comment, subscribe below, you could win one of these solid colognes. That's right.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.